Hi, welcome to this course on Python, and in this video we shall be talking about functions. Now, what are functions and how many types of functions do we have? Well, functions are named sequence of statements that perform some operations. Example, here the name of the function is type when we have used type of something. Now here type is a function, but type is one of the predefined functions in Python. Here the name of the function is type and the expression in parenthesis, which is 32, is nothing but the argument of the function. So there are two attributes, your function name and your arguments. Well, there are various inbuilt functions of Python. Apart from that, we also create some user defined functions. That means functions which are created by the users, by the developers. Example, type conversion functions converts values from one type to another. This is all about your basic inbuilt functions. Now, as I was talking about user defined functions, what exactly is a user defined function? In simple terms, user defined functions are defined by the users or the developers who are dealing with your code. And why do we create user defined functions? Just imagine you want to do some operation, you want to calculate the salary of a customer based on multiple attributes. Or else, simple example, given weight and height, you want to calculate the BMI level. Well, in this case, you can definitely calculate. You have to just use your mathematical expressions on how BMI is calculated. But the only problem is that you pass your height, weight again and again and again, your gender again and again. But if we define a function which basically calculates your BMI, and then you can simply call that function, just call BMI, pass your height and weight, and it will give you the output of BMI. That basically is a user defined function. And user defined functions are created using a keyword called as def, unique block of code that is only executed when called to perform a specific task. We will be learning about a lot of functions in this video. Now, this is a normal structure or skeleton of a user defined function. It all starts with a def keyword. Def appears in green, and that's a keyword. That's an inbuilt keyword. Def space function name, in the brackets pass your arguments, and those arguments are user defined arguments. Once you create your functions, and further you can easily call your function, you can see the bottom of the line is use function name to call the function. Here you have to call your function name, in the brackets arguments, right? So this is nothing but a user defined function. And definitely once we jump into the practicals part, I will be showing you how to create different functions. After that, in this video, we shall also be learning about lambda functions. That is also another type of functions studied under functions in Python. Well, what is lambda function? Lambda, we all know the symbol of lambda. Very simple. Lambda function is nothing but a small anonymous function to make a developer's life easier. So with this statement, I think lambda functions makes a developer life easier, which means in what terms? How can a function make a developer's life easier? Probably by reducing the number of lines of code, or probably by reducing the computation time of the code, right? Well, lambda function helps you to reduce the complexity of the code, reduce the time complexity and space complexity, and it also reduces the number of lines in the code. If you are not using a lambda function, you can probably take like 4 to 5 lines of code using your for loops or something like that. But using lambda functions, you can easily write it down in one line. Well, lambda functions looks very simple, but it's not that simple. So let's get started to understand more about lambda functions. It can take any number of arguments, but can only have one expression. Syntax is lambda arguments colon expression. The expression is executed and the result is returned. Well, enough of the theoretical part. Let's quickly jump into the practicals and try to understand more about functions and lambda functions. We also have other types of functions like map, filter, and reduce functions, which we will be covering in the next video. So for the time being, let's jump onto the practical codes. Here we are with the Python code. We have to create some functions. I have already created the skeleton of the Python code. These are the various questions and we will try to answer them using functions. Okay, now even or odd. What exactly is this? This is nothing but, if you remember the previous class, we talked about how to create some sort of if-else blocks to identify whether a number is even or odd. Simple. How we had done that? If you remember, let's say x equals to 10. I can quickly open that file to copy that code. I think it was loops and iterations. Yeah, this one. Let me just copy it. So we had done like this, right? Here we are passing the number and here we have the if-else blocks. Now, how can we create a function out of it? Because every time you have to run this, you have to provide these numbers again and again, right? Now what happens is, when you are creating some code, right, you cannot directly go to the code and execute these things. You should create some functions which basically helps you afterwards. So normally what happens is, in the backend coding part, when you develop some products, you productionize your code, right? You publish your code, you make it, you freeze your code after your deploy, after your model building is done, or after your code part is done. Now you can not go to the codes back and forth and just run them. So what we usually do is, we create methods so that even after the code deployment, we can easily call that method and can run any point of time, right? So functions are created in memory and you just call your functions. That's the beauty of functions, right? How to create a function out of it? I will start with my def keyword, def, and I will write it as even or odd. Simple. Just imagine I'm going to create a function which will tell me whether a number is even or odd. What should be my argument? My argument should be the number itself, right? X. So here I will mark it as num. Okay. And then I will simply copy paste this code. If this, then print even, else print odd. Okay. If you want, you can also do this way as well. But here I'm not complicating it. So here I've created my function. If, just remove this x with num, if my number is %2 greater than equals to 0, that means if there are no reminders, then it's a even, else it's a odd number. Now run it. Your function is ready. In your compiler, your function is ready. Now you can call these functions n number of times. 100, even. Let's try to do this way. We'll do the same, we'll copy paste the same print statement. It looks good, right? 100. Okay, 102. Okay, here we are doing num, so we'll just change x to num. Okay, 100 is an even number, 11 is an odd number, 13 is an odd number, right? So you're not calling your functions again and again. However, if you restart your kernel or restart your system, you again have to recreate this function. But till the time your kernel is active, till the time your console is active, you don't have to run this code again and again and again. One time done, your function is created and the compiler understands that there is a function name called as even underscore odd that has been created. Okay, now moving on to the next part, which is factorial. What is factorial? Well, I don't have to explain these things. These are the basic concepts. Factorial means 4 factorial is nothing but 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. N factorial is nothing but n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 dot 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 1. Right? So, how to create a factorial? Well, we'll try to create a factorial. We'll create a function, definition, fact underscore number. What I'm going to pass? I'll pass n. That means if somebody is passing 4, your output should return 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, which is 24, right? If I am passing 4, I will define a keyword called as fact. Fact equals to 1, and then I will do for I in range of 1 comma n plus 1. Let me just write down the code and then I will be able to explain you. Fact equals to fact into n into I, because we are passing I, and then we'll do return fact, and then everything is done. If I am calling fact number of 4, 24, fact number of 3, 3 into 2, 6, fact number of 5, 24 into 5, 120, fact number of 6, 120 into 6, 800 or 720, right? Something like that. If you want to cross check, you can easily find factorial of 6 of 6 of 6. Factorial of 6 is 720, right? Factorial of 6 is 720. Now what I have done here is I have defined a variable here, fact equals to 1. Okay, just imagine my n is 1 for I in range of, what will happen here? Let me just write it down again. If I am passing n as 1, what will happen here? Range of 1 to 2. So one time the loop will be run. Here I is 1, so fact equals to fact into I. So fact equals to 1 here, so fact equals to 1 into 1. Simple. Return fact, so your output will be returned as 1, right? What if I do 2? If I am doing 2, then it will become I in range of 1 to 3. So first time when this loop is run for I equals to 1, then fact equals to 1. And then when it is running for I equals to 2, fact equals to 2 into 1. So you are returning 2. And it goes on like this. If you are doing 4, so it will be range of 1 to 5. So fact equals to, so for the first time, fact will be 1. For the second time, fact will be 2. For the third time, fact will be 6. And then it will be 6 multiplied with 4, which will be 24. It's very easy to interpret. So nothing fancy in this. Very simple to interpret. Now, we'll talk about another statement. How to find the sum of all natural numbers till the number provided. That means the question is, if I provide you a number, let's say n equals to 3, what is the sum of all the natural numbers till that number? That's the question. So how can we do? Let me just create a function def. I will do sum of natural. I will pass n, and here I will define a number like factorial. I will define a number as 0, and then for I in range of 1 n plus 1, num equals to num plus 1, return num, return num. Okay, now if I run sum natural of 1, the sum of natural numbers of one number is 2, 1, 2 is 2, sorry, my bad, 3 is 3, 5 is 5, no, something is wrong. I in the range of, I in the range of sum equals, I equals to, I in the range of 1, 1 n plus n, num plus I, sorry, my bad. Here I'm doing plus 1, I have to do plus I. Okay, and done. So first natural number 1, second natural number 1 plus 2 3, third natural number 1 plus 2 plus 3, which is 6, fourth one 6 plus 4 10, fifth one 10 plus 5 15, and so on, right? Sixth one will be 21. Now these are the techniques of creating functions. I hope you understood the basics of creating functions, and your next step should be practicing them. There are so many basic problem statements like palindrome, string palindrome, and number palindrome, Fibonacci series. So there are so many classic examples which are normally asked in interviews for fresher level interviews. Of course, not in the experienced level. Try to practice those things and create functions out of it, and then you will be able to understand more about functions. Okay. Now, next step. Here I'm defining these are some random things which I have done here. I've defined a function which is func underscore 1. I have passed name and I have passed age equals to 30. Simple. Now, what does this mean? See, if you simply pass age, that means I am not doing anything. Whatever I am getting as an input, I'm just printing it, right? If I pass Ravi and 25, it will print me Ravi and 25. If I just pass Ravi, it will fail because it is telling you that missing one requirement, missing one required positional argument. What does that mean? That means you need two arguments, but you have just passed one argument. Okay, so normally what happens is there is a functionality of assigning a default value. So age equals to 30 means my default value is 30. So if you pass a number, that gets updated. If you don't pass anything, your default value is printed. This is also a one of the features of functions. Now, these are the basics of function. Now we will jump into lambda functions. I hope everybody is clear with the basics of functions. It's all about practicing. The more you practice, the more you understand. So there will be some questionnaires which we'll be providing in this program as well. And that's kind of a self practice for you that will help you in your interview preparation and in your Python preparation as well. Okay, so let's jump into lambda functions. The first question is, create a lambda function that adds 10 to the number passed as an argument and prints the result. What does that mean? This means that you want to create a lambda function that will add 10 to the number passed. So whichever number you are passing, that will add that number to your create a lambda function that adds 10 to a number passed. So if you're passing 5, your output will be 15. If you're passing 10, the output will be 20, something like that. So here we will define x equals to, and this is how you create your lambda functions. If I start talking about your presentation, it was lambda arguments expression, right? It was something like this, lambda argument expressions. This is how you call your lambda function. So here I'm calling lambda, and then I will call a colon a plus 10. That means I have defined a lambda function where a equals to a plus 10. What is a? A is your argument, right? Let's say you are passing print of x of 5. You can see when I'm passing 5, this becomes 5 is nothing but 5 plus 10, which is 15. If you pass 15, it becomes 25. 25, it becomes 35. So this is how you define your lambda function, where you are defining your keyword lambda and then defining your argument and then defining your expressions. So a is your argument here, a plus 10 is your expression here. Now, once we jump into the next question, you will have more and more understanding. Create a lambda function that checks a number is even or odd. So using the basic functions, we have already done it, that we created a function like this, right? And it was able to do a good job. How can we do this using lambda functions? So what we can simply do is, we will define x equals to, again, lambda, what? Lambda argument and expression. Lambda argument, what will be the argument? A is my argument. What will be my expression? So print a as even if, print even if a percentage 2 greater equals to 0. So I'll just copy paste this code. See, if I have this code here, you will have a better understanding. See what it is doing. I'm creating a function passing number. If number percentage 2 equals to 0, that means if you are dividing your number with 2 and if your remainder is 0, then it's a even number, else it's not an even number, it's an odd number. Simple. So here what I'm doing is x equals to lambda, and this is my argument, and my expression is even if a percentage 2 equals to 0, else odd. And then if I run this, so if I run this and then I will run print of x of 101, 101 is odd number. Okay, if you want to just add that this is an even number, okay, and this is an odd number, this is an odd number. Done. 100 is an even number. You can see how simple this is. Just with one line of code you are able to do that, which we are doing using 1 2 3 4 5 lines of code. And performance wise also, lambda functions are faster than your traditional if else clauses or for loops or something like that. And from the space complexity wise also it is better, and it is also saving a lot of lines. Now last but not the least, my next question will be create a lambda function that adds to integer. Very simple. What it will be, sorry, x equals to lambda a, you can do this way, a plus b, sorry, a is nothing plus c is nothing but a plus b. You can do this way, or else let me do another way as well. Yeah, a plus b, and then if I type print of x of no, so you have to pass two attributes here, a comma b. So you will be passing two numbers, right? So here a comma b, and then here it will be a plus b. So here you will be passing, yeah, this is correct. Now I'll be passing 4 comma 5, and then it becomes 4 comma 5 is nothing but 9. So this is your arguments, right? A and b, there will be two arguments because you are creating a function that adds two integers. Okay, so you are taking these two arguments, so 4 is a, 5 is b, and you are doing addition operation, right? And similarly, if you want to do multiplication operation, you can simply do this and then print this, it will be 20. So this is all about the basics of functions and lambda functions. The more you practice, the more you understand the concepts. That's all about functions. In the next video, we shall be talking about map, reduce, and filter functions. And there are some file handling and various other topics which are still there in the course. Stay tuned and thank you for watching.